Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Open Studio. I'm your host, Martina Flor, and today we are diving into a very important topic that I know many of you have been asking me to talk about in this podcast, which is how can you create income with your lettering work, with your artwork? Whether you're just starting out or you are an established lettering artist or graphic artist, this episode is for you. And it's going to give you tons of ideas on how you can monetize your skills. So this is part of a series of episodes in which I answer the frequently asked questions about lettering and starting a career in lettering and how to get started with lettering. So before we jump into today's episode, if you are serious about turning your skills as a lettering artist or as a graphic artist, if you are an illustrator, a designer, I believe that there's something in this episode and this series of episodes for you. And if you don't want to wait, if you want to know the answer to all of your questions, I want to tell you that I have a guide where I have put together all of this. It's a free guide. It's called Lettering Success Secrets, and you can access it right now on martinaflor.com/guide. It's really packed with all of the tips and tricks and the strategies, but also packed with stories, like real stories of my own story at building my career as a lettering artist, and also the story of many of the students that I have worked with throughout the year. So if you don't want to wait, if you don't want to wait for all the episodes to drop, then go ahead and download the guide on martinaflor.com/guide. Welcome to Open Studio Podcast, space for lettering artists, illustrators, and creatives who are determined to thrive in their passion. I'm Martina Flor, and I've been through the ups and downs of building a successful creative business. From struggling to make ends meet to achieving my dream of becoming an award-winning lettering designer, I've learned valuable lessons along the way. Now, I'm here to share those lessons, strategies, and tips so that your journey can be smoother. Whether you're looking to turn your passion into a career or want insights to boost your creative business, this podcast is your guide. Join me on the Open Studio Podcast and let's make your creative dreams a reality. Now, let's dive into today's big question, which is how do I make money with my lettering work, with my artwork? Now, many artists believe that client work is the only way to earn a living. And I know this was me when I launched my career as a lettering artist. I believe that the only way of making a living was to get clients. And the truth is that there's a lot of ways to generate income with your artwork. Some methods require active effort, while others are more passive and generate these passive revenue streams that we all dream about. And I have to say that I have personally tested many income streams throughout my career as a lettering artist. And today I'm going to share 10 smart ways to monetize your lettering, smart ways that I have tested myself and have worked for me throughout my career as a lettering artist, and I know that they can work for you as well. And I have divided this into traditional and non-traditional income streams. So the traditional ones are those that, we all know about, kind of like, or what we all tend to think about when we think about monetizing our skills. And the non-traditional methods will perhaps open your mind to new opportunities to generate income, to monetize your skills. So within the traditional income streams, there is client work, and you know what I'm talking about here, which is getting hired by businesses, brands, or publishers to create custom artwork for projects such as advertising campaigns. You can create artwork or custom lettering for logotypes, book covers, or even packaging design. And this, doing client work really helps you build credibility and gets your work in front of exciting brands and gets you to partner with great collaborators. But relying solely on client work can be really unpredictable. And I know this by experience because throughout the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, I experienced a big decline in my client work. And thanks to the fact that I had other income streams working within my business, I could pivot and I could leverage some of these income streams in my business while my client work was really down. So this is something to keep in mind, that doing client work is great, and it's perhaps the way you will want to get started when you are just starting, because it's an easy way to get paid for your work. You just need to have a few clients, and that can give you the paycheck that you need. But as you grow in your business, think about which other ways you can find to generate income with your lettering work. So let's move on to the next one, because we have 10 to cover. So the next one is licensing your work. So you may be wondering, what is licensing? Licensing is essentially allowing someone, a company, a brand, to use your artwork for a fee. You earn money every time your design is used. And depending on how the licensing agreement is done, you can use that artwork and sell it to several different brands. So from the same artwork, you can get paid several times. This generates passive income because you create the artwork once, and then it creates passive income for you. And it lets you have multiple clients license the same artwork, which is a great way of building passive income. So licensing your work, client work, licensing your work. Let's move on to working with an agent. Working with an illustration agent is essentially partnering with someone who finds you projects in exchange for a commission, which is typically between 30 and 50%, depending on the market you're working within and what the agent is and what their deal and the contract that you sign with them is. What an agent does is that they manage client outreach and contracts, which is a significant part of working with brands and clients, goes into finding the clients and looking into the contract and negotiating those contracts, negotiating the fees. And since this is the only thing that they do, it can lead to more consistent and high paying gigs. The agent will do the client outreach for you. They will negotiate the pricing. They will negotiate the contracts, and they will also get a cut from the total income of that job. Another one is selling art prints and products. And I have tried this myself personally. I have had my own online shop. I have also had my work being sold on other platforms. And essentially what this is that you create and sell art prints. You can also sell stickers, sell mugs, and anything in which your artwork could be printed. Create a whole merchandise out of your own artwork. And you can have your own website, or you can use other platforms like Etsy or Redbubble. If I can give you an advice from experience, if you want to set up an online shop, if you want to generate income by selling your work online, I will always recommend you to start by using an already existing market like Etsy or Redbubble, because this first gives you access to an audience, which is their audience. They have an audience of people who buys on Etsy or who buys on Redbubble. And also, you don't have that upfront cost of setting up the online shop. There's other shops that offer print in demand. So they offer you the possibility to offer your products and not having that upfront payment, that inventory in which you have to print out those t-shirts or print out those mugs and have that initial investment. They will print on demand. So as every order comes, they will print that one unit, and sometimes they will also take care of the shipping. So you don't have to take care of all the hassle of running an online shop. Of course, they will get a cut on your earnings, but it's a great way to start and to test what works and what not, what doesn't. So what your audience wants and what they will buy and what they don't. And once you have that test, once you test that out and you figure that out, you can then move on to creating your own online shop. So that's a little bit of an advice from experience. I wish I would have done it this way when I started. I actually set up the entire online shop. I paid for the prints upfront. I did a big investment. And now, years later, I realized I could have done this differently. Remember that with print on demand services, platforms that already have their audience, you can start selling without upfront inventory and you can generate income. The other one, which is related to selling online, you can sell digital downloads. And what is great about digital downloads is that, and this could be, custom brushes, textures, you can sell templates, lettering worksheets. And what this offers is a scalable way to monetize your expertise and your creative tools. So for instance, if you use a specific brush to create your artwork, you can offer that to other creatives that are wondering, like, how do you do that effect? Or how do you do that, that texture over your lettering? And they can, start using that and pay you a fee for getting that brush. The effort to put this online or on sale is minimal because you already have created that tool for yourself. So you can you just need to put it online and make it available for others. So we covered traditional income streams. Now let's move on to non-traditional income streams. So number one, teaching and workshops. Sharing your knowledge through live workshops, pre-recorded courses, or private coaching could be an opportunity to generate income. Remember that you can help someone that is earlier in their journey by the knowledge that you have right now. No matter how advanced or beginner you are, there's always someone that is earlier in their journey than you that you can help with your work and your expertise. What is great about teaching, that I always speak to my mentees about this, is that as an expert, when you become an expert in something and when you learn lettering, you become an expert in drawing letter forms, you will always be doing a little bit of teaching. You will be doing a little bit of teaching, even if you only work for clients, you will always be doing a little bit of teaching. You will always be showing them and making them aware of how important your work is. You're going to be making them aware of what are the nuances of your work. So there's always going to be a level of teaching that you will be doing. And why not turning that into a course, into a worksheet, into something that you can share with other people? And what is great about teaching is that it immediately establishes you as an expert, and it creates this additional revenue stream while helping others to learn and also generating more leads for you. If people or potential clients see you teaching a workshop on logotype design, for instance, they will assume that you are you know exactly what you're talking about, and therefore you must be really good at what you're doing, and therefore they will consider hiring you. So this is a little bit how this teaching and offering workshops can help you as a lettering artist, but also can help others, and with that generate revenue. Teaching is a great way of generating revenue as a lettering artist. You could also teach for companies, and this is something that many creatives that teach oversee, that they could be offering the trainings, the knowledge that they offer on different platforms online. They could do it for teams, for design agencies or marketing teams. They could do it also for in-house teams or inside companies. And what is great is that companies pay a premium for this type of continuing education, because you will be probably going to the company, their offices to offer the training, because you will probably be customizing the training for their team with some specific topic or theme. And therefore, they value that, and they value also saving time into finding and scouting for new trainings for their employees. And therefore, they will pay premium for that kind of training. So keep that in mind. If you already teach or you offer workshops, keep that in mind, that you could be offering workshops inside companies, not only public workshops, but also inside a company. And I have to say that this is an untapped market, and it helps you build authority, but also provides you with this differential rate for the same type of education that you're offering. The other one, coaching and mentorship. Offering one-on-one coaching or small group mentorship to help aspiring lettering artists improve their skills could be a way of monetizing your skills, your knowledge. Remember that there's always someone earlier in their journey that you can help with what you already know. And this provides a steady source of income, and also, again, strengthens your reputation as a leader in your field. Another one, partnerships and brand collaborations. So you can collaborate with brands to create sponsored content or promoting products you truly use. This is something, for instance, that is one of my guidelines when I do partnerships or sponsored. So this is a personal guideline that I have in my business when I create sponsored content or I support a product on social media. It's because it's a product that I either use or I really appreciate or I find it really useful for my audience, right? So if you have an engaged audience, you can get paid for reviewing products, for sharing those products with your audience, and it can be a really powerful income stream. Of course, this depends on the number of followers you have, and if your audience is big, if you have a big email list, it could also be a way of monetizing sponsored content. But remember that your connections can become a really powerful income source. So if you are an expert in something, you can offer your knowledge as workshops in the shape or the format of workshops, but you can also speak about it at speaking engagements like in conferences. You can also write books, and you can write books on lettering techniques or on creative business strategies, whatever it is that you know about, that you have collected experience about, you can talk about. And you can do that in the shape of a talk, and you can do that in the shape of a book. Now, these activities really build long-term authority, and they generate this recurring revenue through royalties and speaking fees. So, for instance, when you publish a book, this book will generate revenue throughout the years in a recurrent way. So you write it once and it gets sold for ever. So to sum it up, we have covered 10 income streams, and I hope that got your juices flowing in terms of, what are the possible things you could do to monetize your work. There's the traditional income streams such as client work, licensing, and selling prints, which are really foundational. There is the traditional income streams like client work, selling prints, creating an online shop. And there's also the non-traditional income streams like teaching and coaching and brand collaborations, which really help you diversify and get out of the box when it comes to monetizing your skills. Think about how this applies to yourself. As a creative, as someone that has a skill, the creative skill, the practical skill is not the only skill that you have. And I hope that after this episode, you start thinking about yourself, not only as a creative, but also a little bit as an entrepreneur. And you start seeing every skill that you have and how you can convert that into an income opportunity. And remember, I'm going to be diving into this and more in the next episodes. But if you cannot wait and you want to know all these strategies and get all your questions answered about, how to build a learning career and how to gain this skill and how to become an expert, you can download a free guide that is called Lettering Success Secrets on martinaflor.com/guide. In this guide, I answer all of your questions and more. And I tell you stories, real life stories of my own journey as a lettering artist and the journey of many of the lettering artists I have worked with throughout the years. So thank you so much for tuning in to Open Studio. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, hit the button. Go ahead and do it. And share it also with other creatives, other artists, designers who are ready to monetize their artwork. See you next time. Bye-bye. So this is it. I hope you loved this episode. You can find me, the host of the show, on social networks at Martina Flor on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you have a question or comments, go to martinaflor.com/podcast, where you can see previous episodes, find show notes, and send voice memos with your comments and questions. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube. Just go to martinaflor.com/YouTube to find them. You can, of course, listen to all our episodes on your favorite podcast platform. If you loved this episode, subscribe to this podcast. And if you leave us a review, it will help others find us. Thank you all for listening, and see you in the next episode of Martina Flor's Open Studio. Bye-bye.